A woman from Standish will be leaving Maine tomorrow and flying to Orlando, Florida.
Is she part of the crowd headed to one of the theme parks for vacation? No, not even close. In fact, there is no one else from Maine who will be in Florida doing what she'll be doing.
On a clear, cold winter day, the view from Douglas Hill Orchard in Sebago out to the White Mountains makes you want to linger and just take it all in. But Veronica Druchniak and her mother have work to do, not outside, but in the old wooden barn, a building with plenty of charm and character, but no heat. They're here because the barn has space and a sturdy beam overhead from which to hang an aerial hoop.
This is because I'm afraid of ladders.
Veronica, who's called Ronnie by friends and family, is one of the very few people in Maine who do aerial.
I first actually started doing aerial arts during 2020 in the pandemic. My best friend bought a portable aerial rig for her backyard, and that was how we would socialize.
Aerial is demanding. It requires strength, balance, coordination, and a bit of fearlessness. With no coach, Ronnie has to figure out for herself how to get better.
My problem was I was turning my hand. I need to leave it that way, which was the issue.
Ronnie has put in hours and hours practicing her routine, and it most definitely has a purpose.
But yeah, so this is how I prep for Miss America.
That is not a throwaway line. Ronnie Druchniak is the reigning Miss Maine.
I ended up competing in 2022. I was the runner-up. I immediately aged out of the program and became too old to be Miss America, and I thought, wow, that's a fun story that I'll tell at cocktail parties someday about how once I entered a scholarship competition. And then they upped the age limit again this year, and I thought, you know, if I had a little more time to prepare and actually invested a little bit more energy into this, I wonder what would happen.
What had been your attitude toward pageants in general before you actually decided to enter?
It wasn't something that was really on my radar at all. I kind of knew Miss America, Miss USA existed, but it wasn't something that I grew up watching. It wasn't something that I was overly invested in. And then my experience at Miss Maine actually showed me that they can be a very positive experience. I've met a great network of just interesting women who are talented and driven and passionate about different things. And that's really changed my outlook on the pageantry system as a whole.
When you won, what was your reaction?
I'm pretty sure I laughed. There's a picture of me that they use as my crowning moment image where my mouth is just wide open and I'm just laughing my head off because I was so surprised.
Maybe winning the Miss Maine title shouldn't have been that much of a surprise. After all, Ronnie started taking ballet lessons at the age of 4. This was her first recital. Here she is at the age of 10. And now she dances professionally. The last few years, she's made a living performing in musical stage productions on cruise ships sailing all over the world.
So we back up the singers. We do a lot of Latin and ballroom, a lot of tricky partnering, some ballet, some musical theater jazz, a little bit of tap.
That background serves her well. She's used to performing in front of an audience, and she'll be the only Miss America contestant doing aerial in the talent portion of the pageant. But that is just part of her story.
Everyone who competes in a state or national pageant in the Miss America realm has to have a cause, or more than one. What's yours?
So I am speaking about LGBTQ rights. As a member of the queer community, that's something that's really important to me, especially with the recent waves of anti-trans legislation that have been hitting local legislatures around the country. So I'm very passionate about LGBTQ rights, about trans rights, and I'm excited to be bringing that to the Miss America stage.
Is that a cause that will fit in with the sort of traditional values that have been espoused in that world?
I don't expect that everyone will want to hear what I have to say or that everyone will agree with me. But just because people don't necessarily want to hear what you have to say or people don't agree with you does not mean what you're saying isn't vitally important.
All of which brings us back to the unheated barn. And the main character, the main grit, Ronnie Druchniak will bring with her as she represents the state in the Miss America pageant.
It is literally 35 degrees in here. You're preparing for the Miss America pageant.
Yes.
I don't know what Miss Texas is doing right now, but she's not doing anything like this.
I don't think it's quite as cold where Miss Texas is working.
I'm blown away by this young woman. Oh my goodness.
But wait, there's more.
Of course there is.
Of course there is. Ronnie Druchniak is a summa cum laude graduate of the University of Southern Maine. She originally planned to major in electrical engineering, but switched to mathematics.
Oh my gosh. And she has so much wisdom inside of her. So I'm surprised she wasn't in like an English course or an English path, I should say, because some of the things that she just said resonated so much.
Yeah, she's just, she brings so much to the pageant, to life,
Yes.
more important. And she leaves tomorrow to go to the Miss America pageant. That actually is happening on Sunday, January 14th. So it's going to be fun to see how she makes out down there.
Maine on the map, can we? That would be fun.
And
We're
one
rooting for ya.
other thing, we should mention that the barn where she was practicing is the Barn Swallow Theater
Yeah.
in Sebago, which is a fascinating operation in its own right. And we've got more information on Ronnie and on the Barn Swallow Theater in the 207 section of our app or website.
Great story. And loved watching you grow up, Ronnie. That was great.